Good evening and welcome back everyone to Total War Warhammer 3 and our High Queen Khalida campaign. Today we will be solidifying our conquest of this part of the desert. We shall be fighting the dwarves and what remains of Raponce's territory. And we're going to start with High Queen Khalida securing us Virus. It's a nice, easy auto-resolve, warm up the old fingers. And we are going to occupy it for its canopic jars. We are then going to very quickly upgrade the growth building and throw in some walls to make sure that it is well defended. Over here, Futep finds himself with a conundrum. Camille Mercier has marched well within range, closer to Zandri, but not yet in range. We are, on the other hand, in range of King Rahatep, should he get attacked. So I think for now, we shall leave them to make their move. In the south, Tic-Tac-Toe is moving towards King Jenna, whose army is not particularly impressive, but he does have a large city garrison at his back. At the start of turn 125, good news, we can raise ourselves another army. We have the option of the lords, and we are going to go for Lamisash, I think is probably his name. We're going to stick him inside Lemire, and we are going to begin recruiting. Now, the reason we picked this guy is that he has some bonuses for Ushabti, and we are going to take advantage of that. It's going to be a largely construct-based army. And we are going to finish it off with 2 extra Necrotect. So we'll get that recruiting. It'll take 5 turns. So we want to go and pay for the apprenticeship of Pehenna. And the apprenticeship of... How do you say that? Emunis? We're going to go with that. Anyway, so we've got that underway now, and we can begin getting some extra Necrotects for that army. He will either be able to walk south and reinforce our army down here, as we see the Zintian boat, which looks rather like some kind of shark, actually. It's kind of cool. Is sailing down our coast, but it's not a substantial army. I doubt it would be able to beat any of our garrisons. This is of substantially more concern. Kairos is going to take on Cetra. Whether or not he'll be able to win, I do not know. And it looks like Tic-Tac-Toe is making a beeline for Antok, although he doesn't have any other substantial armies in the region. So now that we've more or less caught up with where we're at, let's get the Lich Priest of Death back into Rakash's army now that he has recovered, been reconstructed after his injuries, I suppose. And we now have the small question of where the bleeding heck did those armies end up? It looks like they both fought King Rahatep and lost, which frees up King Futep for other battles. Very nice. That's just what I was hoping for. So we are going to move King Futep from Zandri, where he's nice and secure, through the pools of despair and up towards the Dwarven cities. Martek, the Eye of the Panther, etc., etc. We're also going to pull High Queen Khalida down to Kofa, which is the starting city of Raponce de Lyonesse, the port at Kofa. Well, it now belongs to us, so Raponce will have to come and have a rather stern word with us if she wants it back, but quite frankly, I don't care. There we go. We have the docks here, which is growth and income, which is very nice. And now it's It's a matter of storming down this coast as fast as we can. Oh! What's this? Short victory achieved? Hello? What did we do to deserve this? We destroyed these factions and we did 30 settlements, loot, and raise. Okay, so... we would need to complete the long victory, which I think is the one that I'm going for. We would need to take Numas, the Wizard Caliph's Palace, and Galbaraz. Okay, so we're getting there. We're going to have a lot more fighting and a lot more territory to take / sack. But, you know what? We got our short victory, and that gives us extra casualty replenishment rate for all of our armies, which is very nice. That'll keep our armies on the march, because they already replenish fairly significantly. Yes, quite happy with that. So, short victory achieved. Huzzah. What is it you would have of me, Raponce? A peace treaty? No. You came here specifically to purify the desert of our kind. And quite frankly, I am not having it. Alright, Kofa has been besieged by the dwarves. Unfortunately for the dwarves, we have this little thing called Lightning Strike, and that's going to make it a lot easier to defeat them. So we'll take out that first army. I skipped that one because it looked quite boring. It was just going to be, we march at a bunch of archers, they run away. But we shall take the fight to Stromny Hassel Frisian. That's a name. Very shortly. Now, there was one other siege notification that came our way, and it was that Antok had been besieged by Tic-Tac-Toe. Now, Tic-Tac-Toe has not done very well in this campaign, it seems. He's level 24, which means he hasn't done a huge amount of fighting. The game seems to think that this will be a valiant defeat. So, I think that the best thing we can do right now, because we are going to have to pull extra forces across, is we are going to start moving King Petute, or whatever his name is, because I have forgotten it. We're going to perform the rite here to get him a Casket of Souls. And then he is going to start attacking the lizards on this side. We're going to do what we said. We're going to get another Necrotect up and running. And we are going to march him down to put some counter pressure on. Of course, I just marched him out of my territory, didn't I? No, I didn't. Okay, so we can get the Casket of Souls in there. Perfect. Up here, we are going to quickly recruit a Necrotect. We're going to take the strong one. We'll take the tough one next turn. And over here, Prince Simudes has come back, so we're going to send him to Rakash, who will finish recruiting his army next turn. The plan, therefore, is that Rakash will begin moving down towards Sudenburg, and if necessary, take the fight to Kairos Fateweaver. And King Jenna, before attrition has a chance to set in, will take the fight to Tic-Tac-Toe. I think this is a lot more winnable than they're saying it is, simply because of the volume of archery fire we have versus their flying units. I think if we play this well, we'll be able to take it. So, let's see if I can play this well. Okay, welcome to the battlefield. I have taken a very straightforward line. They have some artillery, but not too much. It's in the form of monsters. I've tried to spread out our archers so that they can fall back into different locations, and I have the spearmen here to hopefully do a slightly better job. Now, I am going to put, now that I think about it a little bit more, I've changed my mind. Typical, just as I start recording. I am going to spread the line out just a little bit here to cover the same area. Because what I want to happen is to make sure that, you know, we can collapse in, but also that we don't lose our flanks very quickly to any shenanigans. So we've taken this sort of horseshoe shape formation now. The chariots are going to be in the trees here, ready to reinforce the line at any moment. The spearmen are behind the line, along with the halberds, so that they can take care of any monsters. And we have some small flying flanks here as well. Now, the Casket of Souls is going to help. Looks like that's a Uranan's Thunderbolt. Not much I can do about that. We're just going to have to pray that as we go through the battle, we don't take too much damage to magic like that. That's why I've spread out like this. There probably is a Comet of Cassandora available to them, and that scares me. Okay, it looks like the Skink Priest and the Pterodons are in the air right now. So I'm actually just going to swamp them with carrion. I'll send the elite ones to deal with the Skink Priests and move on other than that. Tic-Tac-Toe has flown straight into our lines, and although there has been some magic, it would be safe to say that it's not gone particularly well for him, at least to begin with. The Saurus Cavalry have clashed on our flank, so I am sending forth the Spearmen there to deal with them. We'll get a chariot charge into the cavalry over there. We won't win it, but it'll help us in the short term. Okay, we're going to need to start committing some of our forces here to make sure that we can hold the frontal line. And I'm going to turn our archers now to shoot out the leadership before King Jenna goes down, because I'm a little bit worried about that, and I don't want to lose my Casket of Souls either. The Carrion over here have now successfully routed at least one of the Skink Priests, so we're going to send 2 after that and 2 after the Skink Chief. And I am going to try and get Jenna out of there, because right now things are not going very well for him, and I do not want him routing. So what can I do to try and stop that from happening? Well, right now, not a lot, because Tic-Tac-Toe is all up in his business. We're going to get the Ushabti in at the back there, behind that unit. Jenna, do not dare crumble, okay? Looks like Tic-Tac-Toe has been distracted for the moment and has started going after an archer unit. This is good. I'm going to keep Jenna running into the trees. Looks like the Skink Priest did manage to shake free. I'm a little bit annoyed about that. Let's try and shut down some of these solar engines with some carrion temporarily. But if Tic-Tac-Toe dies, then that's a pretty big leadership failure for the lizards, or should be. I think we may just have been slightly too spread out, though. Our Tomb Guard are holding, some of our Nehekara warriors too. It looks like basically what's happened is one flank has broken and the other flank has won. The flank on this side being the one that has managed to just about win out. I'm trying to get as many of the carrion as possible onto the Skink Chiefs. And I'm going to pull the ones off of the Bastillodons now and onto the other Skink Chief. Tic-Tac-Toe has begun to run, so I'm going to start pulling my archers round to shoot at the Coatl. I'm going to try and keep my lord over here in combat, but I'm going to start sending the Tomb Guard halberds out towards the Bastillodons. And have the rest of the stuff start coming in on the flanks over here. Alright, Tic-Tac-Toe has come back, but we can jump on him with some carrion. I swear it feels like my units are not responding properly at the moment in-game. Maybe it's just the way the animations look, but like it genuinely feels like I issue orders and get ignored a lot at the moment, and it's becoming really frustrating. I had this problem in an Azazel campaign I was doing off of camera to actually see the ending for once of the Champions of Chaos DLC, because I've started a couple, but I never actually got around to finishing them, you know? As it is with so many of the campaigns. Let's get the chariots now to move out of combat here with the Saurus Warriors. Let's shoot that skink priest. Like, if you're just going to stand around and not fire at who I ask you to fire at, could you at least shoot someone? You're archers, that's what you're here for. You are here to shoot things for me. Please, do it. It looks like we are really beginning to struggle now, so I'm going to have to start taking out some of this stuff with focus fire. There's another skink chief we can take out. Looks like the Tomb Guard halberds over there are shutting down one of the solar engines. Okay, that's nice. That's happened now. Could you please now focus fire the Coatl? That would be just wonderful of you if you could actually shoot that out of the sky. Looks like Tic-Tac-Toe did manage to survive one group of carrion. In fact, it looks like he is somehow going to survive all of my groups of carrion, which I'm not particularly fond of, but there you go. He's committing down now into the fight with the Tomb Guard. The Coatl is taking significant damage. The archers are actually firing. Maybe it was a line of sight thing. Maybe that's what was messing them up. It usually is. Anyway, we need to start swamping down some of these artillery pieces. Once the Coatl goes down, and I think Tic-Tac-Toe is either routed or dead, then the archers can start doing their work. Remember that Jenna's army, with the exception of a couple of things, is relatively replaceable. So to take out Tic-Tac-Toe's main force here would be quite the boon. Because he's not going to get these Bastillodons with their solar engines back in a hurry. These are expensive, difficult to replace. I need to cause a couple of shatters here, though. So I can't rest on my laurels. The morale of my army is struggling. And struggling quite substantially right now. I need to get this unit of Tomb Guard here out of the fight and into these other Saurus Warriors before they can shut down my archers. So let's get my archers away. We'll keep Jenna in range. I might even fire a fireball at those Saurus Warriors. And then we're going to start shooting here. Looks like we are going to lose a chariot unit, which sucks. But that is the mass rout. We have now forced it. Oh, well, Jenna has just about won out for us today. What a tense fight that was. I need Jenna now to sort of move away so he doesn't get sniped down. And I'm going to try and chase down some of these Bastillodons. Okay, we turned a valiant defeat into a Pyrrhic victory, which is good. Looks like those Bastillodons with their solar engines are going to survive, but there isn't a lot I can do about that. If we were to rally out right now, I'm pretty sure that we would lose, so I'm not going to. Instead, we're going to re-recruit some Tomb Guard, get some Nehekara warriors off of the global pool, replace our archer units. We don't need to get them off of the global pool, we can get them from here. Perfect. Alright, nice. It'll take 2 turns to get most of that up and running. 3 to get all of it. And Rakash over here is 1 turn away. Has Futet moved this turn? He has not. So, Futet is going to strike straight at the eye of the Panther. He's going to come in behind the dwarves. And cutting to the quick, secure a foothold in the middle of their territory. We are going to give him ceremonial bandages for missile resistance, so he doesn't get sniped out. We're going to give 2 points in Conqueror. Well, actually, no. We are going to give 2 points in increased mobility, because sword combat effectiveness, I want him to do a good job on the campaign map, making sure he can catch up with people. Oh, it's so nice to be on the offensive after so many turns playing defense. But, you know, that won't last forever, and Rakesh really does need to get his army down here to start fighting with King Jenna. Jenna is not nearly strong enough on his own. Now, we do have 800 and 10,000 money, so I am going to awaken a new army and a new dynasty. Now, because obviously we can get these for relatively cheap, it is not something that we can sustain, but I am going to... Well, we're not going to be able to get any of them, are we? Because we're not going to have the Canopic Jars after we recruited a new army. So we're going to get a new army here. It's not going to be particularly impressive. It's going to be the sort of the ragtime... not ragtime. The ragged remnants of what else we can put together in the region. But, you know, that's better than nothing. We can get some Sepulchral Stalkers for it. It doesn't have to move. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not going to spend 13 turns recruiting for it, but this'll do for the time being. We'll order that there, and I don't think we can recruit another hero right now. That's for next turn. Oh, you want peace now, is it? After you besieged me next turn? No. Of course, what I meant was, after you besieged me last turn. He can't have besieged me next turn. There's no way I would know that. That was very silly of me to say. So, Martek is a smaller city, and Vulture Mountain is the capital. So, Futet is going to march to Vulture Mountain. It says close victory with low casualties, so let's just take that and we'll occupy it. He has now got his Kemrian War Sphinx, so he is looking as scary as Rakesh once did when he first got his. I remember how excited I was, and still am, about mounts like the Kemrian War Sphinx. Now for this army, Strom the Hassel-Frisian, which, you know, he hasn't lived up to his name. He hasn't been hassle-free. But that's, you know, what can you expect? He has some artillery. But I think we'll fight this. We haven't had a battle with the dwarves. Okay, we are adopting a fairly straightforward formation. The dwarves have their artillery at the back, as do we. Our front line is at the front, and our ranged is slightly behind it. Very typical. But we have the monsters advantage, so we are, for the most part, going to be pushing forward into range and taking the fight to them. We're going to start immediately moving the Sepulchral Stalkers up and bringing our Tomb Scorpions into the fray. I am, of course, going to accidentally double heal one Scorpion rather than healing one on both. I should have realized that was what was going to happen, but that's okay. And we're going to start bringing them out to the flanks. We want them to have to worry about it. And I think I've had just about enough of them shooting at my shit. So we are going to start bringing our forces around. You can tell they're doing quite a lot of damage to me, which is unfortunate. I'm going to use Legions of Asaph now to go straight through their units, and we're just going to keep marching up to battle. They have significantly more in the way of infantry units. I'm going to cast Neru's Protection, and I'm going to use Khalida's Resurrect ability here until we can shut those catapults down, because I'm getting very fed up with the amount of damage that they are doing. And now we're just going to commit the Tomb Scorpions. We'll send one Necrotect with each. Our bowmen are in range and firing. Our Casket of Souls right at the back there. Very nice. And I'm just going to get our caster in range and start getting him to, wreak havoc. Going to commit our Tomb Guard here into the main battle line. Now, we are getting a little bit shot at with the Sepulchral Stalkers. So that means that our archers are not doing a good enough job yet at shutting their ranged down. We can address that very quickly, and we will. And now I'm going to commit Khalida. I see no reason not to. I'm going to put Neru's Protection on these archers just to give them the healing from the Restless Dead that you can see popped across the entire army when I cast that. I think I'm actually just going to give them Jaff's Incantation for a second heal as well. We have now just about completely shut down all of their shooting. But to make sure that the catapults are no longer a threat once and for all, we're going to commit the Tomb Scorpions to the back. Khalida has entered the fray here. Let's close the info tab. I'm sorry if I've been playing with that on the whole time. I tried to remember to turn it off, but I'm so used to having it there when I play solo. We'll get a Legions of Asaph across their front line here. Look at that, just doing some nice juicy damage. And honestly, at this point, the dwarves should have known better. And they should have picked their opponents more wisely. Oh, I should have been using Desert Strike to give the buffs. But that's okay, I forgot. It happens. Let's quickly use the heal on Khalida. We've got a unit of Tomb Guard over there that are kind of fighting out in no man's land on their own. So let's get the Ushabti Great Bows in there. However, with the army as it is and the amount of terror-causing units we do have, I suspect that this one is all but over. A decisive victory over the dwarves. We're going to take the money, we're going to take the movement range. But then instead of going back to Kofa, I'm going to see if we have range to get to Martek, and I think we do. Okay, it says we'll lose a unit, so I'm going to play this one, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Okay. That was an easy victory. We've got Seasoned Campaigner, which is nice. Perfect Vigor. Less attrition, more campaign movement range. Fantastic. I like all of those things. And we've secured the entirety of the Mountain Province. So, that's looking good. We might have to retake Kofa, but we have Futep, in position to swoop down behind, Khalida to continue around, and there are no threats to us realistically over on this side at the moment. However, I need more defenders to the south. It looks like Kairos has decided not to commit just yet, so I'm going to start marching Rakash down the coast via Sudenburg, and he can take on Kairos if he finds him. Jenna is still recruiting, and he is getting his army. It is already nearly back to full strength. We're a couple of turns away. And we can just store that Necrotect in that army for now. And then recruit another one. We're going to go with Tough. We don't need any more Scorpion capacity. And he is going to go to a point into Restore and increase mobility, same as the last Necrotect. So, we don't have a lot of Canopic Jars, so I'm going to go through and just slowly start unlocking some of these heroes. And when we have 2, we will probably get Setep and put Setep in charge of the army that is recruiting in the center of the desert here. You can see that that will also grow substantially in size fairly quickly. One thing I didn't think about that I should have done is that we can actually recruit Tomb Guard through our allies, which is an interesting turn of events. So we'll do that. And we'll put another one down here. Although it looks like the reason we can do that, actually, now that I think about it, is probably because we finished another building somewhere that I was working on. We'll get some catapults down. And I think we'll leave that one there for the time being, because I'll want to put a Necrotect into this army, along with maybe another hero when we finish those researches. Oh, something I forgot to do before I rolled the turn, thank you, game, for doing my queued command, is to take the fight to Telaqua. And so there you go. This army over here has taken Sotek's trail. Kairos has attacked. I don't know if we can win this one, but we might be able to do some damage. We're going to leave this on a cliffhanger. We'll come back to it next time. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all soon.